Suspicious Stew is one of the best items in Minecraft 1.18, and in this video I'm going to show everything you need to know about it, and we're starting right now. So what exactly is Suspicious Stew? Well, it's a stew made with a flour in a normal mushroom soup. So let's say we grab ourselves this poppy. We can actually do this in our personal crafting grid right here, the 2x2, or we can do it in the 3x3 here, and you just put in a bowl, a red mushroom and a brown mushroom, and then we put in a flour, and that'll affect what type of Suspicious Stew it is. So we have the poppy here, and if we eat it, and you can notice we actually ate that there with full hunger there. We actually now have night vision for about 5 seconds, which is an interesting little bit of an effect there. And there are 9 different types of these Suspicious Stews. So we have one made with allium, azure bleuet. Now the blue orchid and dandelion one is the same. We have the cornflower one, lily of the valley, oxeye daisy, poppy, any type of tulip. And then we have one with the wither rose. So that's made with every single small flower and just none of the too tall ones like, let's say, peonies or roses or things like that. Now you can see over here we have all the different recipes laid out. So let's start with the allium one. Alliums grant you fire resistance 4 seconds for Java and only for 2 seconds in Bedrock Edition. Unfortunately, most of these effects don't last as long in Bedrock Edition, but it's still quite a useful item in both versions of the game. If you're really early game and first going to the Nether, it could be a good idea to bring an allium stew with you. Anyway, that's the recipe right there with the allium. With Azure Bleuet, it gives you Blindness for 8 seconds in Java Edition and 6 seconds in Bedrock Edition. Also, interestingly enough, the Azure Bleuet stew is actually the only way of getting blindness in survival in Minecraft. Then if we put an orchid or a dandelion in our mushroom soup, making it a Suspicious Stew, it'll give us 0.35 seconds of saturation in Java or 0.3 seconds of it in Bedrock Edition. As well as that, it'll actually make the soup more filling, making it actually the most filling food in game. So if you want to know how to craft the most filling food in game, it is literally a bowl, 2 mushrooms, and a dandelion or a blue orchid. Now for the one with cornflowers, that gives you jump boost, which is quite useful. You can jump over fences, things like that. 6 seconds in Java Edition and 4 seconds in Bedrock Edition. The lily of the valley, just as it would in real life, gives you poison because it is a poisonous plant in real life and apparently in Minecraft. 12 seconds in Java Edition and 10 seconds in Bedrock Edition. The oxeye daisy gives you regeneration, so it'll slowly make your health go up regardless of your hunger status, for 8 seconds in Java Edition and for 6 seconds in Bedrock Edition. The poppy gives you night vision, as we just saw back there. 5 seconds in Java, 4 seconds in Bedrock there. Now, any color tulip gives you 9 seconds of weakness in Java Edition, or 7 seconds of it in Bedrock Edition, although that one's not quite so useful. And then making one with the wither rose gives you the wither effect for 8 seconds in Java, or 6 seconds in Bedrock Edition. And I'd say this one is really good for pranks and things like that. Now, if you don't want to craft this every single time, because it is a bit annoying, there's actually a really cool trick you can do, but it's not the most simple thing to do. So basically, you're going to need yourself a mooshroom. Now you get these on mushroom islands, and they'll always spawn as a red mooshroom. Then you'll want to kind of contain the mooshroom. Then once the mooshroom is there, and I'll just do this with a command, we can just basically /summon some lightning here. But you could do this by basically waiting till it's a thunderstorm, getting yourself a channeling trident, then throwing the trident at the mooshroom in open air during the thunderstorm, and it would convert the mooshroom into a brown mooshroom, just like this. Now, unlike the red mooshroom, the brown mooshroom has a really special property. That is, if we get ourselves a dandelion and a bowl, we actually have a bowl right here, something really special will happen. But first, a little bit of context. So if you right-click on a mushroom with a bowl, you'll actually get mushroom stew. So you actually get infinite free mushroom stew for as much as you want. In fact, so much so that if we have a whole stack, we can literally just spam right-click and get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mushroom stews infinitely. So it's actually an infinite food source to have a mushroom there, which is really cool, and basically instant food source as well. Of course, we can do the same thing with the brown mushroom, but if we try feeding a flower to the red mushroom, nothing will happen. However, if we go over here to our brown mushroom and we feed it any flower of the type of Suspicious Stew that we want, for instance, right here we'll feed it a dandelion, and then we milk it. It's actually, funny enough, known as suspiciously milking it, right like this. You'll see we actually get a Suspicious Stew from the mushroom like that. So as long as you have some nice amounts of flowers and a brown mushroom, which of course you can breed more of those, you'll get yourself an infinite supply of Suspicious Stew, which means that the best food item in game can be made literally with just a bit of red mushroom, brown mushroom, and dandelion. An interesting thing about suspicious stews is that there's actually no way of knowing which type they are once they've been made. So this could be any single type here, and there's no way of knowing until you try it. So it's always good to store these in such a way that you know which is which, so you won't, let's say, mix up your Blindness stew with your Regeneration stew. Also, unlike most foods in game, you can actually eat these if you're full, which is quite useful if you want, let's say, something like the jump boost or the corn flour. If you prefer not to craft these or get them from mooshrooms, you can actually trade with villagers to obtain suspicious stew, which is quite a nice little thing, although it's not very useful with some of these more easy recipes, but maybe with something like, let's say, the Wither Rose stew, it would be quite a good trade. And you can also find them in shipwrecks around, which is a very common way of finding this item. I've generally found they're on almost every single shipwreck I go to. Now, if you don't know where a mushroom island is, or you don't want to bother with turning this into a brown mushroom, but you still want a really easy way to get lots and lots of suspicious stew, then don't worry, because it's very easy to do that. All we need is some simple building blocks and some mushrooms, just like this, a little bit of bone meal, just like this, and also a axe that has fortune on it. Now you may be wondering what the axe with fortune on it has to do with anything, but you'll see in just a second here. And it can actually be any axe you want, as long as it's something that you, of course, would be worth putting fortune on, so hopefully diamond or netherite, and we'll throw it on there just like that. So, to get yourself a good amount of mushrooms, since that's kind of the main issue with this thing, is we just have to go to an area we want to have a little farm in, and we'll just find where we want our mushrooms to be, like let's say here. We'll build up quite a way, let's say just all the way up here. Then we'll go out 2 blocks from the center, just like that around here. Then we'll put 1 on each of the corners, making kind of a small diamond shape, just like that. Then we'll break these blocks here, and break all the way down here. And we'll place a mushroom here. Now that it's in the dark, we can actually place it. And when we bone meal it, it can turn into a giant mushroom. Now with the fortune axe, when we break this, we'll actually have a really high drop rate of the mushrooms. So we can break all of this and get ourselves tons and tons of mushrooms to get more and more suspicious stew, which is quite nice. And of course we can do this with red mushrooms as well, just planting them right under there in the shade, bone mealing this. And once it's bone mealed, then we can break this again, and you can see we'll get ourselves a large amount of the mushrooms. You don't have to have a fortune axe, just a really good way of improving the efficiency of this. And of course, if you have lots of these little things set up, or just a very large area that's completely covered over, you can get yourself tons and tons of mushrooms quite quickly. And with that, you can multiply mushrooms very, very easily and make lots of suspicious stews. Now, bowls are kind of a funny item in Minecraft, definitely not very used, as they're really only for the stew recipes, but they're quite easy to make as well. All you need to do is cut down a tree, and then once we have some wood, we'll just turn that into planks. Of course, for this, we're going to need a crafting table, and we'll put this down right over here. And we'd craft them as if it was, let's say, a bucket, just in the shape like that, but with wood. And 1 recipe of 3 planks gives you 4 bowls, so it's quite easy to get those. And once you've drunk a suspicious stew or a normal soup, it'll give you the bowl back, so you can actually reuse these as many times as you want, just like a glass bottle. Suspicious stews are such an amazing item, from the best food source to ways to get potion effect super early game, and also something you can infinitely get from brown mushrooms and much more. There's everything you need to know about suspicious stews in Minecraft. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to press the like button, subscribe, comment, share. I'll see you in the next one, and have a great day. Goodbye.